Today's lesson is topic writing, describing a chart. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Penny.
And today we're going to be talking about our topic writing unit, and we're going to be writing about a chart. Our example today is about students and how they feel about certain things in school, the kind of stress that they have and the things that they worry about. And of course, students worry about different things. So sometimes if you want to present the information more clearly and you can get a visual interpretation of the information, you can use a chart, like a bar chart or a pie chart.
好，我们这个月的主题是写作，要来练习图表写作。那么图表就是用简单的形式来传达出复杂的讯息，让我们可以很快速的掌握一些必要讯息。那图表有很多类型嘛，其中最常见的就是折线图，可以说 line graph， 也有人说 line chart。那么长条图是 bar chart， 也有人说 bar graph。那么还有圆饼图也很常见，那它的英文是 pie chart。在今天的写作练习当中啊，有一个图表就是长条图，它是要显示台湾国高中生的压力来源。那我们要依据图表内容来写一篇作文，所以现在就来练习吧。
Okay, here's our first sentence. It says, This bar chart illustrates the primary sources of stress among high school students in Taiwan. So to illustrate just means to show something, to provide that information, usually in a visual form, but not necessarily always. But this bar chart will show us or illustrate the main sources of stress, the primary sources of stress that high school students here in Taiwan have. And indeed, if you are in high school or if you have ever been in high school, you know that it can be quite a stressful experience.
好，那我们看到这边有一个图表，就是这个台湾高中生感受到压力的原因嘛，那各自有列出这个所占的比例，所以我们在写作的时候呢，第一段就是要描述这个图表的内容跟讯息，那么第二段是要说明自己的情况，如果你也有类似的压力，你通常会怎么面对跟处理这些事情。好，那现在我们进入这个课文范例练习呢，他在第一段就要先开始描述图表内容，所以一开始他有说这个长条图呢说明了台湾中学生压力的主要来源。那换我们写写看，我们也许除了用像他这个 This bar chart illustrates 这张长条图说明了什么，你也可以说 The bar chart provides 这张长条图提供了什么样的讯息。所以像你也可以说这个他提供了台湾中学生压力来源的调查结果之类的这种内容。那我们接着请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么写。
Yep, here's how you might write it. The bar chart provides the results of a survey regarding the causes of stress affecting high school students in Taiwan. So again, this is how we introduce this topic. We're going to tell you exactly what this bar chart is all about. It provides the results of a survey. So a survey was taken. They went around to different high schools and they asked students what things were stressing them out, and then they gathered all that information, and then they had the results, and they illustrated those results with a bar chart, and this bar chart provides the results of that survey, and the information has to do with stress affecting high school students in Taiwan. What sorts of things are causing them stress?
好，那我们现在大致讲完这个图表内容是在涵盖什么主题，那我们接着就是要说明图表所传达的讯息。我们知道它有列到一些压力来源还有他们所占的比例嘛，那我们来试着看看，像课文范例它并没有完全就直接把那个数字一个一个念出来，它是用约略值的方式来表达。那我们请 Roger 老师带我们看看这个课文范例的内容。
Okay, here's the next sentence. It says, According to the chart, the majority of students feel stress due to school-related sources, including schoolwork and academic achievements, which worries more than 3/4 of students, and future plans, which affects nearly 70%. So this sentence, of course, is diving right into the bar chart and interpreting the information here according to the chart. If we look at the chart, these are some conclusions that we can make. Most students, or the majority of students, feel stress because of school-related sources, doing homework, taking tests, etc. And that, of course, would include academic achievements, maybe extracurricular activities as well. And that worries more than 3/4 of students. And they're also worried about future plans, which affects fewer students, but it's still a pretty high number. They're worried about the future, where they're going to go to university, what they're going to major in, stuff like that.
好，我们在图表里面可以看到这个76.9%的比例的学生呢，他们有受到这种课业和学业成绩的困扰，然后还有67.3%他们是受到这个未来计划影响。所以我们看到课文范例，他就说大多数学生是因为学校相关的原因而感到压力，他就直接把它归类成跟学校相关的这个类别了。然后接着再提到说有超过3/4，你看他用超过3/4 more than 3/4 来取代讲76.9%，然后他讲说 nearly 70%， 将近70%来取代67.3%。那用这样子也可以让读者更快的掌握所占的比例。那换我们写写看，我们也不一定要像他这样，你也可以说这个学生压力来源可以分类成这个学校相关的，还有社交关系相关。那么前者它影响了大多数，那接着你就可以细项列出来，像76.9%是谁谁谁啊，然后67.3%是哪一项这样子。那我们补充一下，在讲到这个压力来源的时候，我们其实可以用到 stress 后面加上 or stressor 就可以表达是压力来源、压力源的意思。好，那我们接着请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么写。
And here's how you might write it. Student stress can be categorized into sources related to school and social relationships. So to categorize something just means to divide it into different groups. These are different categories. One is school-related, and the other category has to do with social relationship-related sources. And the former sources affect the majority, with 76.9% reporting stress related to schoolwork and academic achievements, and 67.3% citing future plans as stressors. So here we're talking about the former, which is the first category that we mentioned. It has to do with school-related concerns and being concerned about the future. And then the latter of this writing here refers to social interactions and social concerns. So additionally, teenagers' need for social interactions and subsequent challenges they face are also significant, with interpersonal relationships impacting 43% and parent-child relationships affecting about 1/5 of students. So again, that's the second category, which has to do with social interactions or social relationships. They face challenges in that regard, getting along with their classmates, not being bullied and stuff like that. So of course, that affects or impacts 43% of the students. And then the students are also concerned about how they're getting along with their parents.
好，从课文范例他写的方式，他是先写了跟学校相关的原因而感到压力，那他就指出了这个课业和学业成绩的这部分，还有未来计划这部分。那接着我们看到还有另外3个数据嘛，所以接着他就提到说，这个青少年对社交交流需求还有随之面临的挑战也是相当显著，然后就有提到说43%的学生受到人际关系影响，然后大约1/5的学生，他实际的数字会是20.3%嘛，那这边他就直接用1/5的学生受到这个亲子关系的影响，用这样的约略值去表达。那换你写写看，我们刚刚就有提到说，我们这个压力来源可以分类成跟学校相关、跟社交关系相关，然后有提到前者就有提了那2个数据。所以现在呢，换你写写看的部分，我们要来提另外3个压力来源，要分别写出他们所占的比例。那这时候呢，有一个好用的副词叫做 respectively， respective 后面加上 ly 变成这个副词，表示分别地、各自地，所以你就可以列出他们的数据，然后分别对应的项目，再搭配这个副词去表达说他们分别所占比例这样子。好，那我们请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么说。
And here's how you might write it. Meanwhile, 43%, 35.2%, and 20.3% reported stress from interpersonal relationships, personal appearance, and parent-child relationships, respectively. So here respectively means we've listed things 1, 2, 3 in one category or in one concern, and then we've related that to 3 other points We haven't gone 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. We're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could look at it like that. So, of course, we're talking, first of all, about the first figure, 43%, and that, of course, has to do with interpersonal relationships. We've got 35.2%, and that has to do with personal appearance. And we've got 20.3%, and that has to do with parent-child relationships, all respectively. That is kind of a difficult concept to understand. I've got an example here. I could say, John and Lisa like pizza and hamburgers, respectively. So John likes pizza, Lisa likes hamburgers, but we've listed the information that way.
好，那我们现在提供完这个图表的相关资讯，那我们接着就要根据图表内容来阐述自己的看法。像课文范例，也许他就会提到他这个学校相关的问题跟这个社交关系的问题构成这个主要的压力来源。那我们先来看看课文范例它的写法。
Okay, here's how we're writing it. It is evident that school-related issues and the social relationships of high school students constitute two major sources of stress for them. So it is evident, it is obvious from this information that school-related issues and social relationships of high school students are two major sources of stress for them. This is an interpretation of the information in the chart.
对，这就是我们在诠释说这个图表内容所给我们主要的讯息，所以你就用一两句话大概的讲完说它主要呈现了什么样的状况。所以像换你写写看，你也许可以写说这个调查结果指出说，在大多数的学生当中，学校相关的担忧是比较普遍的，那么跟社交相关的担忧虽然没有那么普遍，可是也还是蛮常见的，用这样子去表达。那我们接着请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么说。
And here's how you might write it. The results indicate that school-related concerns are widespread among most students, while concerns about social relationships, although less widespread, are still fairly common. So again, this is an interpretation of the results of the survey, and by looking at the graph, we can make these conclusions. The results indicate, or they show, or they teach us, or they reveal that most students are concerned about school-related things. And we've also got concerns about social relationships. And even though they're not as spread out, they're not as widespread, they're still fairly common, so they are still something that we need to be concerned about.
好，那我们刚刚这个第一段落是在比较客观的在讲解这些数据啊提供的资讯，接着进入第二段呢，我们要以自己的情况为例，去说明说我们遇到压力时会如何排解，怎么去克服这个状况。那我们来看看课文范例它怎么写。
Okay, it says here, like many students, I also find that the burdens of schoolwork and academic expectations often leave me racing against the clock, especially when they're coupled with anxiety about my future plans, such as choosing a college and major. So yes, this is the first person here. Yes, I feel these pressures too. I do have to worry about schoolwork and academic expectations, so I have to race against the clock. I'm always in a hurry, but it makes it even worse because I also need to worry about my future plans. Like, what am I going to do after high school? Am I going to go to university right away? Am I going to take a year off and go traveling? And if I do go to college, what's my major going to be? Am I going to study law or medicine or social sciences or whatever? These are things that I'm really worried about.
好，那课文范例这部分他写的是它是属于这个跟学校相关压力来源这一部分，他就提到说跟许多学生一样，我也觉得课业负担和学业期望常常会让我要跟时间赛跑，尤其是当他们跟我对未来计划的担忧结合在一起的时候，像是这个选择大学啊，选择主修这一类。那换你写写看，也许我们可以试着来写你是比较担心人际关系的那一个，那如果是这样的话，你就可以说我也是担心人际关系的其中一位。那大多数的中学生都会想要在同侪啊，在同学之间让自己看起来很酷嘛，那自然而然就会有一些压力，像你穿衣服的选择搭配啊，你的行为举止，你的嗜好等等，都可能会受到别人眼光的影响，这也是一个蛮大的压力来源嘛。那我们来请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么说。
Here's how you might write it. I'm also one of the students who are concerned about interpersonal relationships. Yes, indeed, I need to worry about that Most high schoolers want to appear cool to their peers and friends, which naturally leads to some stress related to clothing choices, behavior, and even hobbies. So yeah, we all want to look cool to our classmates, to our peers, to our friends. And of course, we have stress when we have to worry about the kind of clothes we wear, how we act, and even the sort of hobbies we have.
好，那我们现在刚刚讲完这个自己是落入哪一个归类里面，那现在你是怎么去排解、去克服这样的状况呢？去怎么疏解这样的压力呢？我们来看看课文范例他怎么说。
Okay, to reduce stress and study efficiently, I try to manage my time effectively by breaking down tasks and avoiding procrastination. In addition, I take time out of my busy schedule for exercise to promote both physical and psychological well-being.By employing multiple strategies to cope with stress, I have found myself more confident in handling challenging situations. So here our writer is saying what he or she is going to do about all this stress. The writer is going to manage time effectively, break down the tasks, and avoid procrastination, avoid delaying doing your homework. And also, this person is going to do some exercise. It helps your physical well-being and your psychological well-being.And these are all the different kinds of strategies or plans that this person is going to use to handle stress.
好，关于这个学校相关的压力，这个未来计划的压力，这个课文范例作者他写到，他是透过像拆解任务，把你要工作的事项拆解变成小项目嘛，然后还有避免拖延，要有效管理，当时间管理大师，或是在这个繁忙日程中抽出时间来运动，所以他会用这种不同的策略来帮助自己，让自己处理压力更有信心。那现在换我们提到这个，换你写写看，这个部分是关于人际关系的压力来源。那也许你就可以写说，你处理社交生活压力的方式，可能是跟朋友很坦诚的去聊开来，诚实透明，告诉对方彼此的感受。我有时候也是会觉得自我怀疑啊，我有时候也是会很害羞，我们就很坦诚的跟对方讲，让对方知道 you're not alone 这样子。好，那我们接着来请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么说。
And here's how you might write it. One way I like to deal with the stress of social life.is by maintaining open communication with my friends. Indeed, we try to keep things in the open and talk about things. Through honest and transparent conversations about our feelings, we remind one another that we all experience self-doubt and shyness from time to time. Indeed, we all seem to have the same kinds of problems. If we get things out in the open and we talk about them, we'll find out that we have more things in common.Then we don't, and we'll get along better that way.
好，那现在我们做完这个写作练习了，可以准备进入第二部分，来看看我们的范文咯。
And here's our example essay. The title is The Stressful Life of a High School Student. Of course, life can be stressful from time to time. This bar chart illustrates or shows us the primary sources of stress among high school students in Taiwan. That introduces the topic. According to the chart, the majority or most of the students feel stress due to school-related sources, including schoolwork and academic achievements, doing well on tests and getting good grades, for example. And this worries more than 3/4 of students. And also, we're talking about their worries about future plans, and that affects nearly 70% of the students. And additionally, or moreover, also, teenagers' need for social interactions and the subsequent challenges they face are also significant, with interpersonal relationships impacting 43% and parent-child relationships affecting about 1/5 of students. So yes, we're talking about interaction, how you talk to people, how you say things to them, and what they say back to you. That's an interaction. And subsequent means something that happens as a result of something. So after you talk to somebody, there will be challenges afterwards that you need to face. Those are significant concerns. And we've got interpersonal relationships, just relationships with other people. And we've also got parent-child relationships. That affects about 1/5 of students. So, of course, these are important things to consider. Now, moving on to the next sentence here, it says, It is evident or it is clear, it is obvious that school-related issues and the social relationships of high school students constitute or make up two major sources of stress for them. This is an interpretation of the information in the chart.
好，我们在这个段落里面看到这个 source， 我们知道 source 有来源的意思，那在这边它其实是表达说这个问题困难的根源啊，原因，所以我们用 the primary sources of stress 就可以用来表达这个压力的主要根源这样。好，那么另外看到一个单字是 interpersonal， 那注意这个 INTER 这个字首就表示在什么之间，或者是有互相的意思，搭配这个 personal 个人的组合在一起 interpersonal 就可以表达人际的或是人与人之间的。那么另外注意一下 constitute 这个动词呢，它表示组成构成，那它的用法是要用部分当主词，然后加上 constitute 再加整体去表达部分组成的整体这样子。好，那我们接着来看下一个段落。
And like many students, I too find that the burdens of schoolwork and academic expectations often leave me racing against the clock.Especially when they're coupled with anxiety about my future plans, such as choosing a college and major. So yes, indeed, I'm always in a big hurry because of these things, and I'm even more stressed out when I have to deal with anxiety about my future plans. So these concerns are coupled with anxiety about my future plans. They complicate things. I have to worry about these things as well, as if I don't already have enough stuff to worry about.And of course, they involve choosing a college and a major. I need to worry about that. So of course, I'll need to do something about all that stress.
好，那我们看到课文第二段落里面呢，有几个用语可以注意。首先是这个 race against the clock， 它是用来表达分秒必争、抢时间的那种意思。这个 against the clock 或者是 against time 就表示争分夺秒、抢时间，为了就是争时间，要把这个工作如期完成。那他们就常会搭配 race 或是 work 这动词。好，那我们也可以用 race 当名词，这时候你就可以说 a race against the clock， 或者是 a race against time 去表达一场与时间的赛跑。好，那再来看到另外一个用语是 couple A with B， 他这边写到说 especially when they're coupled with anxiety about my future plans， 尤其是当他们与我对未来计划的担忧结合在一起时。所以这个 couple A with B 就是表达说把 A 跟 B 结合，常常会用被动语态 be coupled with 去表达说加上什么跟什么结合。好，那我们接着继续往下看。
Okay, so what am I going to do about this? To reduce stress and study efficiently, I try to manage my time effectively by breaking down tasks and avoiding procrastination. I get things done on time and don't wait till the last second. In addition, I take time out of my busy schedule for exercise to promote both physical and psychological well-being. Indeed, I take time so that I can work out and get away from my studies for a while.And by employing or by using multiple strategies to cope with stress, I have found myself more confident in handling challenging situations. So yes, you all need to use multiple strategies or different kinds of plans to deal with stress, and hopefully you'll all be better in the end.
好，那这边他用到这个 take time out of my busy schedule， 就是指说从我繁忙的日程中抽出时间来。那 take time out 原本可以指说是从这个原本工作或活动当中来暂停啊、休息、抽出时间。那通常可能就是为了要休息或放松做其他事情。然后所以你在后面可以接个 of 或是 from 再加名词或动名词，或者是你也可以接 to 加原形动词去表达你从中抽出时间来做某事。好，那么另外看到 procrastination 这个字比较长，那它这个名词就是表达拖延啊、耽搁或是延迟的意思。
And that does it for our example essay for our topic writing unit for the month of December. And hopefully all of you can figure out ways to deal with stress in your high school lives. From all of us here at All+ Interactive English, my name is Roger.
And I'm Hanny.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.